Greetings Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. What a huge news day. Yeah. Inflation, turkeys, tariffs, a ceasefire announced for the Middle East between Hezbollah and Israel. Donald Trump threatening those tariffs. That has erupted in the House of Commons during question period into more debate between Polyev and Trudeau. All kinds of stuff going on. We're going to take you shopping. We're going to show you what the prices are like out there on this November 26th, 2024. Stay with me. There's a lot to share with you tonight.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom. Greetings brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so we know a little bit more about this ceasefire deal that has been announced. The plan sets out a phased withdrawal of Israeli troops from Lebanon that will happen over the next 60 days. The Lebanese military will help patrol the area around the Blue Line as the Israeli military moves south, and Hezbollah will then move north. Joe Biden, we're going to go there in a moment to pick up what he had to say about this as he announced this ceasefire deal. The United States, along with France, will join the existing tripartite mechanism, which includes the Lebanese military, the Israeli military, and the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon. That will help enforce the agreement in this area. Now, all of this has been happening and being announced while Israel has continued to launch attacks into Lebanon. And any complaints of potential violations of the ceasefire agreement will be directed to the USA. Now, there won't be any U.S. troops on the ground in Lebanon. However, U.S. and French forces will support the Lebanese military through training and helping with communications. Let's go to the White House, pick up what Joe Biden has to say with the announcement today of this ceasefire agreement.
Good afternoon. Today I have some good news to report from the Middle East. I just spoke with the Prime Minister of Israel and Lebanon. I'm pleased to announce that their governments have accepted the United States proposal to end the devastating conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. I want to thank President Macron of France for his partnership in reaching this moment. For nearly 14 months, a deadly conflict raged across the border that separates Israel and Lebanon. A conflict that began the day after the October 7 attack by Hamas on Israel. Hours later, at 2 a.m. in the morning, Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations backed by Iran attacked Israel in support of Hamas. Let's be clear, Israel did not launch this war. The Lebanese people did not seek that war either, nor did the United States. Over the past year, including the days immediately following October the 7th, I directed the U.S. military to flow assets and capabilities into the region, including aircraft carriers, fighter squadrons, and sophisticated air defense battery, to defend Israel and deter our common enemy at critical moments. Since the war with Hezbollah began, over 70,000 Israelis have been forced to live as refugees in their own country, helplessly watching their homes, their businesses, their communities as they are bombarded and destroyed. And over 300,000 Lebanese people have also been forced to live as refugees in their own country. In a war imposed on them by Hezbollah. All told, this has been the deadliest conflict between Israel and Hezbollah in decades. How many of Hezbollah's senior leaders are dead, including its longtime leader, Nasrallah? And Israel has destroyed Hezbollah's terrorist infrastructure in southern Lebanon as well, including miles of sophisticated tunnels, which were prepared for an October 7-style terrorist attack in northern Israel. But lasting security for the people of Israel and Lebanon cannot be achieved only on the battlefield. And that's why I directed my team to work with the governments of Israel and Lebanon to forge a ceasefire, to bring the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah to a close. Under the deal reached today, effective at 4 a.m. tomorrow local time, the fighting across the Lebanese-Israeli border will end. Will end. This is designed to be a permanent cessation of hostilities. What is left of Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations will not be allowed, I emphasize, will not be allowed to threaten the security of Israel again. Over the next 60 days, the Lebanese army and state security forces will deploy and take control of their own territory once again. Hezbollah terrorist infrastructure in southern Lebanon will not be allowed to be rebuilt. And over the next 60 days, Israel will gradually withdraw its remaining forces. And civilians on both sides will soon be able to safely return to their communities and begin to rebuild their homes, their schools, their farms, their businesses, and their very lives. We're determined this conflict will not be just another cycle of violence. And so the United States, with the full support of France and our other allies, has pledged to work with Israel and Lebanon to ensure that this arrangement is fully implemented, the agreement totally implemented. You know, there will be no U.S. troops deployed in southern Lebanon. This is consistent with my commitment to the American people to not put U.S. troops in combat in this conflict. Instead, we, along with France and others, will provide the necessary assistance to make sure this deal is implemented fully and effectively. Let me be clear. If Hezbollah or anyone else breaks the deal and poses a direct threat to Israel, then Israel retains the right to self-defense, consistent with international law, just like any country when facing a terrorist group pledged to that country's destruction. At the same time, this deal supports Lebanon's sovereignty, and so it heralds a new start for Lebanon, a country that I've seen most of over the years, a country with rich history and culture. If fully implemented, this deal can put Lebanon on a path toward a future that's worthy of its significant past. And just as the Lebanese people deserve a future of security and prosperity, so do the people of Gaza. They too deserve an end to the fighting and displacement. The people of Gaza have been through hell. Their world's absolutely shattered. Far too many civilians in Gaza have suffered far too much. And Hamas has refused for months and months to negotiate a good faith ceasefire and a hostage deal. And so now Hamas has a choice to make. Their only way out is to release the hostages, including American citizens, which they hold. In the process, bring an end to the fighting, which would make possible a surge of humanitarian relief. Over the coming days, the United States will make another push with Turkey, Egypt, Qatar, Israel, and others to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza. With the hostages released and the end of the war without Hamas in power, that becomes possible. As for the broader Middle East region, today's announcement brings us closer to realizing the affirmative agenda that I've been pushing forward during my entire presidency. A vision for the future of the Middle East where it's at peace and prosperous and integrated across borders. A future where Palestinians have a state of their own, one that fulfills its people's legitimate aspirations, one that cannot threaten Israel or harbor terrorist groups with backing from Iran. A future where Israelis and Palestinians enjoy equal measures of security, prosperity, and yes, dignity. To that end, the United States remains prepared to conclude a set of historic deals with Saudi Arabia, to include a security pact and economic assurances, together with a credible pathway for establishing a Palestinian state and the full normalization of relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel, a desire they both have. I believe this agenda remains possible, and in my remaining time in office, I'll work tirelessly to advance this vision for an integrated, secure, and prosperous region, all of which strengthens America's national security. Getting all this done will require making some hard choices. Israel has been bold on the battlefield. Iran and its proxies have paid a very heavy price. Now Israel must be bold in turning tactical gains against Iran and its proxies into a coherent strategy that secure Israel's long-term safety and advances a broader peace and prosperity in the region. Today's announcement is a critical step in advancing that vision. And so I applaud the crazy decision made by the leaders of Lebanon and Israel to end the violence. It reminds us that peace is possible. Say that again, peace is possible. As long as that is the case, I will not for a single moment stop working to achieve it. God bless you all, and sorry to keep you waiting so long. May God protect our troops. Thank you.
So he's hang on just a moment. Let's go back here because there's some questions being asked. Just backtrack here a bit. I'm going to rewind this so you can hear these questions being shouted at him, which I did not know was going to happen. So here we go. This is what happened. You might want to hear this. Here he goes.
You all, sorry to keep you waiting so long. May God protect our troops. Thank you.
All right, so I've pulled it back so that we can re-cue this. Now listen up, and there we go.
Gaza before leaving office? How is this push any different from the previous ones?
Mr. President, what have you told the new administration?
And that's it. I don't like it when he does that because you can't really hear him. But he is obviously still in there working, or at least his administration is. to achieve something before his term in the White House comes to an end. Israel is also working overtime. As I say, they are continuing to launch airstrikes into Lebanon, even as this ceasefire deal has been reached. It takes effect not until tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. And what we've seen through the day today is just ongoing hostilities. This is what it looks like. This is what it has looked like all day there. I've been watching. Oops, this is not the, that's not what we want. Pull this down. Here we go. This is what it looks like. During daylight hours, there were many airstrikes as well. But tomorrow morning, 4 a.m., ceasefire takes effect, or so we're told. We'll see if it holds. We'll see if it even happens. My guess is it will, but this will not affect directly what is going on in Gaza. So the war there will continue for the time being. And we will see what happens as the transition toward the new Trump administration continues, although I've been hearing rumblings that the transition process is not going smoothly. I'm trying to dig up some more details on that to figure out what is happening with regard to that, but I don't think the two teams like each other very much. The Israeli troops began a land invasion of Lebanon almost 2 months ago now, in response to almost a year of rocket attacks from Hezbollah. So we'll see what happens tomorrow morning, and we'll update all of this for you tomorrow. Now, while all that's going on, the conflict in Ukraine continues to rage on, and I've been hearing all this stuff about North Korean troops are not really there. It's not true. I've heard a number of pro-Russian influencers, social media influencers saying, oh, no, there's no North Korean troops there. Seems like everybody else is talking about it. Believe what you want, I guess. Pentagon briefing today, subject came up. It seems pretty matter of fact at this point. I think it's pretty clear that, yeah, there are North Korean troops involved, at least on some level, and we're seeing reports of some troops being killed. I don't know. The first casualty of war is truth. Russia is saying it's just a great big lie, that it's not true. North Korean troops not there. But today, Pentagon briefing, subject comes up, and this is what was said about it.
Sensitive issue.
No. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, General. I have a couple of questions about Russia, Ukraine, and North Korea. According to the Ukraine Defense Intelligence, North Korea has provided Russia with KN-23, KN-24, and about 100 short-range ballistic missiles. And Russia is expanding its ballistic missile manufacturing plant in North Korea. North Korea and Russia are providing full-scale weapons and technical support. What are your concerns about it?
Well, Janie, I mean, we've talked about this in the past. We're, of course, concerned about the developing relationship between North Korea and Russia, as evidenced by the fact that they've deployed, upwards of 12,000 troops into Russia to support their invasion of Ukraine. And so it's something that we're going to continue to take seriously, keep an eye on, and work closely with our regional partners to address those threats.
Russian Kremlin warned that South Korea is being used by the United States and the West, and that South Korea will be targeted as an accomplice with the West, which will lead to very bad result. It also said that if South Korea provide additional weapons to Ukraine, the war will be prolonged. How do you assess this?
How do I assess North Korea's claims that the war would be prolonged?
I mean, the Kremlin, Russia said that, not North
I think
Korea.
Russia obviously invaded Ukraine. It's a little bit of gaslighting there. They could end this war today by withdrawing their troops from Ukrainian territory and restoring peace and stability to the region. All right. We go to Fadi and then we'll go to the phone.
Thank you, General, and welcome back. Channel 12 in Israel is reporting that the Israeli cabinet just approved a ceasefire in Lebanon. There's been reporting that the U.S. will contribute to the monitoring mechanism, maybe through being represented by General. Is this one of the ideas that being discussed in the U.S. government about potential role for the Pentagon in this?
Well, again, as I mentioned to Natasha, we are consulting closely with our interagency partners and looking at what the potential role of the DoD could be. I don't have any updates to provide from the podium right at this moment, but certainly, as we have more to share on that front, we will.
Okay. So let me just, okay. Now, it's some other interesting things surrounding all of the conflicts out there today. Russia has been capitalizing on what key political figures in the U.S. have been saying in recent days, most notably what Elon Musk has been saying. This is what Elon Musk posted. I saw it for the first time yesterday. I think this is from yesterday. So he came out with a couple of posts, very critical of the F-35 fifth generation U.S. fighter. And maybe you've seen this. He says here, well, he posts this with all these drones. And on this post, he says, meanwhile, some idiots are still building manned fighter jets like the F-35. In other posts, he says, wars of the future will be won with lots and lots of drones, not with fighter jets. He has, I think, sort of a point. But here's the video that he posted to go along with what he had to say. Yeah, it scares me. I have to be quite honest. Drone warfare. It has been a game. Talk about a game changer. It's a game changer in the sense that it has reshaped the face of war, the way war is being fought. And the war in Ukraine has been, I think, the first war fought with drones. And it's a totally different game. He is correct about that. But I think that Elon Musk, all the incoming members of the new Trump administration need to be careful about, maybe a little more careful about what they say, how they say it, when they say it, where they say it, keeping in mind that adversaries will use it for various purposes. So I don't know that this has really done any kind of damage at all, but certainly over in Russia, media there, state-run media, they're picking up on it. Sputnik is one of the media outlets now commenting or doing stories about what Elon Musk has said about the F-35. F-35 is modern Rube Goldberg machine. Musk is right to criticize it. Former Pentagon analyst. It says here, Tesla CEO Elon Musk has called the Lockheed Martin F-35 fighter an expensive and complex jack of all trades, master of none. What does he mean? It goes on here, and this article from Russia says the F-35 design was broken at the requirements level because it was required to be too many things to too many people. That in one of the tweets yesterday from CEO Elon Musk of Tesla, who was picked by President-elect Donald Trump to co-lead the new Department of Government Efficiency. The quote goes on, it says, manned fighter jets are obsolete in the age of drones anyway. We'll just get pilots killed. I did see that post as well. And then the article continues in saying Musk is correct in his assessment of the Lockheed Martin F-35 fighter. Retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Karen Kwiatkowski, a former Pentagon analyst, tells Sputnik. The program will cost more than $2 trillion, becoming one of the most expensive in U.S. history, according to the Government Accountability Office. Despite this, the U.S. military continues to discover new technical risks that cost American taxpayers more money. And so Musk obviously looking for things to cut. The F-35 program is very expensive. What are his plans when he gets into office? I don't know, but the article here continues and says the F-35 has repeatedly come under heavy criticism. It is true. It says here, ex-influencer Mario Nawfal appears to share Musk's skepticism. Quote from Nawfal, China is building swarm drones, Nawfal tweeted. Meanwhile, some idiots are still building manned fighter jets like the F-35, he quoted Musk. Yeah, repeating what I just showed you. And yes, in the past, Matt Gaetz, former U.S. congressman, who was Trump's pick for attorney general, has called the F-35 a $100 million paperweight. And that wasn't very long ago. And Adam Smith, the Democratic chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, dubbed the F-35 a rat hole in March 2021. And then, of course, in this same article, they post a picture of an Su-57 fighter and boast about its capabilities, outlining capabilities that they say get the better of the F-35. Is it true? I don't know. I hear many things about the F-35. It is expensive. And as I dig into it, have dug into it, there are pros and cons to it. The F-35 is a fifth-generation warfare fighter, fifth-generation fighter. It is very capable. It has better stealth capabilities than its Russian counterparts. Those stealth features include radar-absorbent materials, internal weapons bays, reduced radar cross-section for improved survivability in hostile environments. I've seen video up close of its Russian counterpart, and it doesn't look, those things don't even look nearly as well built. But we're told that just in terms of raw power and maneuverability, the Su-57 is supposed to be better, although the F-35 integrates data from various sensors, radar, electro-optical, infrared into a single coherent picture for the pilot, enhancing situational awareness. I know that the F-35 has even been used. It is capable even of shooting down cruise missiles. And it is also used to track missiles and then send data to defense systems that are then capable of shooting incoming missiles and rockets. And I know that during attacks on Israel, it has been from Iran, the F-35 has been instrumental in helping to fend off those rockets and missiles incoming. Just to give you a sense of what the F-35 is capable of, I did queue up a little bit of video here. And it is, I mean, in flight, and even just when it's not really flying, when it's just hovering, because it has vertical takeoff and landing capabilities. It can just hover in midair, and in flight as well. It does look, honestly, very impressive, because it can do things that, you know, the previous generations of fighters just are not capable of. The maneuvers, the sharp turns. Well, you'll see as I run this video. This is, I think, from the U.S. military channel. So, of course, because it has very short takeoff and landing, like vertical takeoff and landing, it's useful on an aircraft carrier. Although I'm told they're very expensive to maintain. But NATO countries are all investing in this. And it's the integration, the standardization of weapons that allows all the NATO forces to work together. So that everything fits and is compatible. And because all the different nations are purchasing these, it makes them, it gives them, all the nations, economies of scale when purchasing these fighter jets. They are more expensive than the Russian jets. But they'd be a whole lot more expensive if they were only being used by one country. Just like anything else. But these fifth generation fighters, they're just, honestly, I think this is some of these things are responsible for some UFO sightings, because they do things that people are not accustomed to seeing an aircraft do. They can just hover in midair, so they look like a UFO, especially at night. And you see the way they really tight turning radius. Look at the way it just flips. So when one of these things goes up against like a fourth generation fighter, these like, if these things are functional, if they're in the air, they're lethal. But like all things that involve technology, eventually they become obsolete. The question is, are they obsolete now? I don't think so. We've seen the defensive capabilities of those jets as used to defend Israel against missile attacks. And while Elon Musk is talking about drones, and I think he has an absolute valid point, because they're extremely inexpensive when compared to other kinds of weapon systems. And yes, lots and lots, swarms of drones. Yeah, may win wars in the future and even now. But I think there obviously is still a role for fighter jets like that. It's not an either or. I think it's, unfortunately, a combination of. That's what's needed out there today by any military that wants to hold its own against adversaries. We're also told tonight that Russia's defense ministry is vowing retaliation for Ukrainian ATACMS assault, the assaults on the Kursk region. There was a statement announced by Russia's defense ministry over the past 3 days, according to this is all from, again, Russian state media. They're saying that over the past 3 days, Ukrainian forces carried out 2 strikes with long-range Western-provided weapons on targets in Russia's Kursk region. They're saying that they're claiming that these missiles, most of them were shot down. And I think that there is evidence to suggest that some of the ATACMS have been shot down, but they've also been very effective in neutralizing some targets. And now Russia's saying they're going to retaliate. But both sides rattling the saber, pointing the finger, each side blaming the other. But I don't know. It's just a war. It continues. And there's going to be a trade war, I think, as soon as Donald Trump takes office on some level. And it's going to impact Canada directly, because Trump posted this, and it has resulted in a flurry of debate and concern and social media posting and news conferences, especially in Canada, because Trump is saying, well, I'll show you the post, it says right here, as everyone is aware, thousands of people are pouring through Mexico and Canada, bringing crime and drugs at levels never seen before. Right now, a caravan coming from Mexico composed of thousands of people seems to be unstoppable in its quest to come through our currently open border. On January 20th, as one of my many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all, that's capital letters, ALL, all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders. This tariff will remain in effect until such time as drugs, in particular fentanyl, and all illegal aliens stop this invasion of our country. Both Mexico and Canada have the absolute right and power to easily solve this long simmering problem. We hereby demand that they use this power, and until such time that they do, it is time for them to pay a very big price. Well, as a result of that, we've now seen economists getting upset, expressing concern, saying if this happens, Canada will be plunged into a recession. And I can see why. 25% on everything leaving Canada. The United States is by far Canada's largest trading partner. If everything leaving Canada is subject to a 25% tariff that goes into the United States, it could devastate our economy here in Kazakhstan. Make no mistake. As a result of that, we have seen today the Canadian dollar, the loonie, lose value. It fell to its lowest level today since May of 2020. No doubt, as a result of Donald Trump's threat to impose these tariffs on Canadian goods. He says he's going to do this on day one. The loonie was at 71.07 cents in late morning trading after dipping below 71 cents earlier in the day. And as I say, some economists, including some of the leading economists with Canadian banks, are saying that this would result in a lot of pain for Canadians and probably plunge us into a recession, and it will contribute to inflation. All that, while today, in a more hopeful story, the Bank of Canada, here I'll show you, announced that it looks like that inflation is stabilizing. Is this CTV? Yeah, it is. This is the CTV version of this story today. It's being widely reported, though. Here we are. Bank of Canada says inflation will fade into background. Well, maybe not. Maybe not now. Says here, will fade into background as it settles at 2%. Here, let's listen to this.
By the Bank of Canada next month after the inflation rate jumped back up to 2%, more than expected. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth on the factors driving up the cost of living.
The price of food is still a source of frustration.
And they got to start doing something because this is getting ridiculous.
Now comes news the inflation rate has climbed again. Gas prices dropped in October 4% compared to 10.7% in September and a 6.4% drop in October 2023. Rent prices in Canada increased 7.3% in October compared to 8.2% the month before. Groceries saw an increase of 2.7%, up from 2.4% the previous month. The focus is now on the Bank of Canada to see if another 50 basis point rate cut is coming.
So when it comes to what we might expect on that December 11th, I still think we are in the camp of a half-point decrease again on December 11th. That was put us at the top end of what the Bank of Canada considers the neutral rate range.
Economist David McDonald says the trend of big increases in prices is over, but Canadians are still feeling financial pressures.
Most prices remain much higher than they were 3 years ago.
There had been a positive trend in recent months. The 2% rate marks the first inflation increase since May. Overall, trend lines point to positive developments on the inflation front.
I think the bigger picture here is that Canadian inflation is down quite a bit since the height of the pandemic.
Financial experts forecast the overall inflation rate, while not as low as they'd like it to be, is within the Bank of Canada's target range. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
And the target range generally for economists, who, at least the reasonable ones, is somewhere around 2%. If you have an inflation rate around 2%, that's considered to be a healthy economy. I think 1% would probably be a little bit better, but it depends on what your objectives are with the economy. It ensures liquidity of cash flow in the market so that people can pay their bills, so that there's enough currency flowing, right? But yeah, 2%. But we're experiencing more than that. We've experienced a lot more than that in terms of real inflation over the past 4 years, over the past 9 years under Justin Trudeau. It's a major concern, but more worrisome is this whole thing with the tariffs. Very worrisome. And here is what Trudeau had to say on his way out today about Trump and his tariff plan.
Bonjour tout le monde. I had a good call with Donald Trump last night again. We obviously talked about laying out the facts, talking about how the intense and effective connections between our two countries flow back and forth. We talked about some of the challenges that we can work on together. It was a good call. This is something that we can do, laying out the facts, moving forward in constructive ways. This is a relationship that we know takes a certain amount of working on, and that's what we'll do. One of the really important things is that we be all pulling together on this. The Team Canada approach is what works. That's where, putting aside partisanship, that's where I reached out immediately to Doug Ford to agree with him that we would have a First Ministers meeting this week to talk about the United States. Talked with François Legault and some other premiers as well. There's work to do, but
he's not mentioning Daniel Smith's name out from Alberta, who seems to be fostering a better relationship with Trump than Trudeau. It's pretty clear Trudeau is not liked by Donald Trump. Now, is this 25% tariff likely to happen on Canada? I sort of doubt it. I think this is posturing by Donald Trump. This is classic Donald Trump, where he talks about things in the worst possible terms because, of course, he wants to come in to any negotiation from a position of strength. He wants to make a deal. So he asks for the world and lays things out in extreme terms coming in, right? Lays things out in extreme terms, and that way he is in a position of strength and power heading into the negotiation. So Canada, with its relationship with the U.S., the close integration of our economies, in particular industries like the auto industry, the reliance of the two countries on each other is such that I really don't think that it will happen in that way. But he's saying he's going to do it on day one. So is there any room for negotiation between now and then to prevent this from happening? Oof, I don't know. But this erupted into full-blown debate in the House of Commons between Trudeau and the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, Pierre Poilievre. This is how that went down. Oh, hang on a second here. I need to adjust this. Here we go. There we go.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
This is the exchange.
We need a plan for our security, safety, and our economy. A Canada First plan. But for months now, Mr. Trump has been threatening tariffs. Here we are today without a plan. The big plan is a Zoom call, Mr. Speaker. There's no plan to reverse the liberalization of drugs that has gotten Americans so worried. There's a lot of chaos that our Prime Minister has caused at the borders. There's no plan to cut the taxes that are harming our economy during these uncertain times. Where is the Canada First plan? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I had a good call with Donald Trump last night. I underscored that we've been working together for decades to create prosperity on both sides of the border. We must work together. That is how we can meet challenges together and create prosperity for all. We will always defend Canadian jobs, Canadian workers, and Americans too. We will do this in a nonpartisan way. We will work as a team. That's what works in teamwork, nonpartisanship. I've spoken with the Premiers Ford and Legault. We will all continue to work together to defend Canada. The Right Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Right, but apparently the call didn't work because just a few minutes later, President Trump threatened Canada with tariffs. The same goes for softwood lumber and Buy America. For 9 years now, our Prime Minister has not gotten any gains for Canada. And now he's admitted that he broke our immigration system. There are 700 foreign students who need to leave Canada within a year. They can illegally cross south into the United States, which would be a huge issue. What is the Prime Minister's plan to fix the immigration system that he broke? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, there are international students who come from everywhere in the world to study in Canada. They're in Canada during their studies. At the end of their studies, they return to their countries of origin. That is what happens in the majority of cases, an overwhelming majority of cases. And we do have a system for when people do not return to their countries. Our immigration system does help us address current challenges. We have reduced immigration to Canada recently in order to give our economy a chance to catch up. That's part of an immigration system that works and that meets the adapting and changing challenges that we have today.
Plan for economy and security that puts Canada first. But despite the fact the Prime Minister has known for years that Trump was threatening these tariffs, and for 3 weeks that President Trump had won the election, the only plan he has is a Zoom call. No plan to reverse his disastrous liberalization of drugs that have killed people and now threaten our borders. No plan to fix the broken borders that he caused. No plan to cancel the tax increases that will drive billions and many jobs away. Where's the plan to put Canada first?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Instead of panicking and falling back on slogans like the Leader of the Opposition, we rolled up our sleeves and we're getting to work. We're working with all the premiers, pulling together in a Team Canada approach, because that's how we defend Canadian jobs from coast to coast to coast. I spoke with Donald Trump yesterday evening, talked about how important it was for us to work together to solve some of the challenges we're facing as a continent, as countries, but also work to grow our economy, protect our workers on both sides of the border. This is the responsible, methodical approach we're taking as we move forward, while our opponent falls back on slogans and fear.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
He spoke with the incoming president, and moments later, Mr. Trump put out a tweet slapping a 25% tariff on Canada. So that worked about as well as the Prime Minister's efforts on Buy America and softwood lumber, which continue to be penalized, even though the previous Conservative government got both of those things lifted. Now move over to drugs. The Prime Minister's disastrous legalization and liberalization of drugs has the Americans worried, in addition to costing 47,000 deaths in Canada. Where's the plan to stop the drugs and keep our border open to trade?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, once again, the Leader of the Opposition is just making stuff up. I clearly spoke with the President of the United States an hour and a half after he put out his suggestion on tariffs. The reality is we're going to continue to work constructively with the incoming administration to protect Canadian jobs, to protect Canadian growth, to take the responsible approach that isn't steeped in partisanship, that pulls together the Team Canada approach that stands up for Canadians instead of throwing around.
Now, I know Jagmeet Singh is
broken like the Leader of the Opposition.
Really, like he's saying we should go to war with the United States over these tariffs, an economic war.
The statement went out promising tariffs before they even got a chance to speak. It's kind of like him backing down on Buy America and backing down on softwood lumber, Mr. Speaker. Now let's move to the tariffs the Prime Minister wants to impose on our economy. Quadrupling the carbon tax to 61 cents a litre would cripple our economy. New tax increases on work and energy would do likewise, sending hundreds of billions of dollars south of the border. Now that Canadians are facing this economic crisis, will he at least cancel his plan to hike taxes so we can save jobs?
And it would be a crisis if it happens. Don't make any mistake about that.
Once again, the leader of the opposition flailing and inventing stuff to try and fit his preferred attacks into his priorities. The reality is we're going to continue to work constructively with the incoming administration to do what Canada and the U.S. have always done, create prosperity together, protect jobs on both sides of the border as we grow the economy. When it comes to drugs, Mr. Speaker, we've taken serious steps on that and we'll continue to. But if the leader of the opposition is suggesting he wants to recriminalize marijuana, let him just say that.
That's right.
Order! You're asking your caucus if that's right? Order.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, over the past few days and hours, we have received signals that we are about to go through some significant insecurity, and we will experience that in Parliament too. There's protectionism, there is rather strong diatribe, strong choice of words. Now is the time to unite people, to make people feel safe, especially economically. We should support the most fragile and the most vulnerable in our society. The Prime Minister, is he willing to reconsider his rebate plan so that seniors can feel that they are economically and financially secure?
This is the
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Tax refund.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians are struggling to make ends meet. We're aware of that. That's why we're offering a tax break to everyone for the next few months on groceries, on clothing for children, on all sorts of items that Canadians buy regularly. We're also looking into ways to acknowledge that workers in this country have carried a heavy burden the past few years. They have protected our economy. We want to protect the economy. We want to protect them and their loved ones. We want to acknowledge the hard work of hardworking Canadians.
Yeah, it's
the Honourable
my
Member for
understanding this doesn't
Belleuil-Chambly.
extend to seniors.
Mr. Speaker, before
Christmas
today's
tax
workers,
breaks.
other workers came before them. Workers who worked all their lives, who paid taxes all their lives, and who have no other option. The government is giving checks to people who don't need them, and the government is not giving checks to those who need them the most. Would the Prime Minister agree to decrease the salary and give the extra money to those who need it and to seniors? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, all Canadians are struggling in different ways. That's why we're investing in creating more daycare spaces. We're also investing through the Canada Child Benefit, which is increasing every year.
Okay, enough for now. Let's take a little break. I'm going to come back. We're going to go shopping soon, too, because we're going to look at the cost of Thanksgiving, the cost of groceries in general as we head into the holiday season. When I say Thanksgiving, I'm talking about the U.S. Thanksgiving, because there's a new report out that says that Thanksgiving on the U.S. side is historically affordable.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Well, let's give Jagmeet Singh of the New Democratic Party a moment in the spotlight here as well. It's only fair that we let him take a couple of shots at Justin Trudeau as well, because everybody is on edge over what Trump is saying about this potential 25% tariff on everything being exported from Canada to the United States. That's huge. Like, really huge.
The government ignores this problem. They need to take it seriously. They can't afford another letdown. Les attaques de Trump n'étaient pas une surprise.
Trump's attacks did not come as a surprise. We saw the writing on the wall. But the Prime Minister prefers to turn a blind eye, and he's been saying that everything is going fine. Meanwhile, thousands of Canadian jobs are at risk. Why hasn't he done anything about Donald Trump's threats? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we take our economy and defending it seriously. That means we can't take action out of panic. We need to defend the principles that will help us thrive. In North America, we all succeed when we work together. We will work with the American administration to address the challenges that both of our countries are faced with. We will work together to create prosperity for our workers and to defend our workers. That's what we've always done. That's what we will continue to do. Mr. Speaker, this is not time to panic. This is time to work hard, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Honourable member from Regina Capel.
We need a Canada First plan to fix what the Prime Minister has broken. The first time he went head-to-head with Trump, the Prime Minister was forced into accepting humiliating concessions on agriculture, steel tariffs, and on Buy American. And that was when Canada had a stronger position thanks to a decade of low-tax, pro-job, conservative policies. After 9 years of economic vandalism, though, he's put Canada in an extremely vulnerable position. Per capita GDP is now lower than 9 years ago. Canada has the most indebted household amongst our trading partners. We have the worst housing inflation, and food prices have risen 37% here, faster here than in the U.S. Now that he's negotiating a position of weakness, why should Canadians expect any...
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister for Export Promotion and International Trade.
Mr. Speaker, I want to be clear. We will always be there to protect Canadian workers and Canadian businesses. We have been there for Canadians before.
All right. This is all a prelude, really, of what's coming as Trump prepares to renegotiate the USMCA, which is the deal that Trump negotiated when he was president the last time, which was the deal that replaced the North American Free Trade Agreement. And now he wants a better deal for the U.S. than the one he got the last time. And there's no love lost between Trump and Trudeau, that is for sure. And I think this time around, it feels different. I don't think there's going to be as much flex on the U.S. side this time. We'll see how it goes. Thanksgiving is supposed to go smoothly this year, according to this report from NBC. Here, take a look at this. They're saying Thanksgiving is historically affordable this year. Now, that's not based on just what they're saying. They're saying farm data shows holiday meal staples are collectively at their cheapest after adjusting for inflation in nearly 40 years, not including the COVID hit year of 2020. So it says here, you may not know it by looking at sticker prices in grocery aisles, but Thanksgiving dinner is more affordable than it has been in years. The cost of this year's holiday feast, estimated at $58.08 for a 10-person gathering, or $5.81 a head, dropped 5% last year, the lowest level since 2021, according to a nationwide survey of grocery prices by the American Farm Bureau Federation, which represents millions of U.S. farmers. But the picture improves further when adjusted for inflation. Well, isn't that a rosy picture? I can tell you that on social media, the backlash against this story has been pretty severe. A lot of people are saying this just isn't so. A lot of people struggling out there. Quote, if your dollar had the same overall purchasing power as a consumer in 1984, this would be the least expensive Thanksgiving meal in the 39-year history of the AFBF Thanksgiving survey, other than the outlier of 2020, the authors wrote. For plenty of households, though it doesn't feel that way, a defining feature of the post-pandemic recovery, it says here, and the 2024 election is the divergence between Americans' sour views of the economy and its underlying strength. Many shoppers understandably focus on price levels, the dollar value of the things they buy, rather than those purchases, inflation-adjusted or real costs. The latter is the true test of affordability, since it reflects an often underappreciated piece of the inflation puzzle. Wage inflation. And indeed, while Thanksgiving food prices are up 19% since 2019, according to the AFBF, federal data shows median household wages growing by about 25% during the same period. So they're saying prices are up, but so too are wages. So in real terms, you're actually a little bit further ahead because wages are growing faster than the rate of inflation. True, I suppose it depends on your job. Depends on where you live. Depends on your personal circumstances. That will hold true for some people, but not for everyone. That's an across-the-board sort of look at everything. But yeah, on social media, a lot of people saying, what are you talking about? Here in Canada, I think people are still suffering from massive sticker shock because certainly during the pandemic, and immediately and subsequently afterward, we've seen prices increase substantially in real terms. 20%, 30% a year over a number of years. And that's more realistic when you go to the grocery store. Those are the more realistic numbers. The inflation numbers reported by government are not really a true reflection of what inflation is these days. They calculate inflation differently than they used to make things look a little bit rosier than they really are. All that being said, I think inflation has slowed. I think that's quite evident. But prices overall have not come down. What we're talking about is price increases have slowed down, but it's not to say that prices have rolled back so much. Now, I thought what we could do tonight is maybe go shopping. We've done this before, and with all this talk about the economy and specifically about inflation tonight, I thought this would be a good time to take you to the grocery store. So let's go on a little journey, shall we, through the aisles of my local supermarket, and we'll take a look at what it looks like in real life, what real prices are like. This is Kazakhstan. Isn't this exciting? Okay. Now, first of all, one of the things I've noticed is still, it seems like that we don't have as much on the shelves. Now, bananas here, 59 cents a pound. I think that's actually down a little bit. And you can't live without bread, your daily bread. But look, like things just don't seem as well stocked as they used to be back in the day. Now, this is the cheapest bread here. I believe that was $2.59 for a loaf of bread. Now, if you want to buy the name brand stuff, it was on sale for like $2.99. So 50-cent difference. The name brand stuff, 50 cents more. The name brand stuff seems to last longer, but my guess is it has more preservatives in it. So the cheap stuff might even be healthier for you. But look at all the empty spots here in the cooler where, you've got your luncheon meats, your hot dogs. Heart attack in aisle 7. Seriously. Now, those hot dogs, I didn't buy any of those, but like $6 for a pack of wieners, tube steaks. Now, this fish used to sell for about $9.99, $10.99 a year and a half, 2 years ago, now $15.99. And I swear the packages are getting smaller of the haddock. You get a little bit more of like the pollock, right? But it's not as, the fish isn't as good. Potatoes on sale, $3.98 for 5 pounds. You can buy a 10-pounder for about $6 on sale. But I can't eat that many potatoes because the kidlets are gone, right? Now, here's mini pizza bagels. I didn't buy any of those. I didn't even look at the price. I just picked them up, looked at them, and said, no, you don't know what they're putting in the crust these days, right? I mean, after all, I'm not saying there are crickets in there, but you never know. Now, scooting down the aisle where they have like cookies and stuff, I just bypassed that because I need to maintain my figure. Now, if you drink coffee, it seems like this stuff has become more expensive. $7.99 for instant coffee. Just seems a little bit steep. You can buy the no-name stuff, and it's a couple of dollars less, but seems like that's increased in price in the past year too, at least by $1. And look at the price of cereal. Come on! $7.49 for a box of cornflakes? Give me a break. I mean, seriously, what is it? It's flakes of corn. When I drive around, all I see here is cornfields. Now, RFK Jr., I took note of the Fruit Loops because he's going on about the preservatives in there these days. $7.49 for a box of Fruity Loops. I couldn't get it to focus right with the camera. But he's saying that the Canadian Fruity Loops are not as dangerous for you as the American version. I don't know if there's anything radioactive in there or not. Now, Frosted Flakes, same kind of pricing. I don't know. I swear to God, I've been eating Frosted Flakes lately. Shouldn't probably do that. Blame my wife. She's trying to kill me because I swear to God they're addictive somehow. I can't eat just one bowl. That's why I'm getting fat. But if you want the Fruity Loops, this is the no-name brand, and I was looking in there, and it seems like there are more chemicals in the no-name supermarket brand of Fruity O's instead of Fruit Loops. So if you're worried about the food coloring, it makes them all fruity-looking, then steer clear because RFK, yeah, he'll probably ban Fruit Loops anyway. He's got a big hate on for breakfast cereals of various colors. Now, I haven't had any, well, I shouldn't say that. I did. When I go to my parents, they have Verner's ginger ale there. And there's something about that stuff just lately. So I did have a can of Verner's ginger ale, but other than that, I've not been drinking any soda at all. So I kind of bypassed the whole soda thing. But for those of you who are interested, I think I did get a shot of the price here at some point. They've got it on sale as usual. There it is, $3.99 for what, like a 6-pack bottle of Pepsi products. But I didn't buy any of that stuff. Rots out your guts. And spaghetti sauce. This stuff has definitely increased in price, but fortunately this week it's on sale at this store. This is not like your top-end supermarket. This is, okay, $2.99 regular, $3.49, so you're saving 50 cents. But even the no-name stuff is more expensive than it used to be, where you used to be able to sometimes get it for $1 or $1.49, $1.99. Now it's like $2.49, $2.99. So that's, that's like a 30% increase. $4.79 for, one of the premium brands of pasta sauce. Sometimes it's like $5.49, $6.49. And coming down the back stretch, going around, and turn number 3. Now, do you remember this stuff when you were a kid? Maybe you still drink it. I don't know. I had some of this a while back, and I was going to buy some Ovaltine because it's basically chocolate, but they put vitamins in it. But at $6.49, I decided not to. I thought I can do without it. And as I say, when you drive around this part of the country, it's cornfields to the left, cornfields to the right, and yet strangely, there was almost no corn in the frozen food aisle. I did find a bag of Green Giant corn. None of the cheaper brands there at all. And here's butter. This is the big thing these days. Butter, $7.49 for a brick of butter. Like, wow. Of course, here in Canada, we have marketing boards, right? $8.79 for the Lactantia brand. $7.29 for those eggs. Now, there are different kinds of eggs. If you want the kind that are, produced with the chickens in little cages and tortured, as the people at PETA would complain about, they're cheaper, almost half the price. But the organic types, the other brands, the other type, the premium stuff, the Omega $17.95, a triple X, $5.49 for the yogurt. Those other kinds of eggs, they're more money. Now, a chocolate pie. I remember these. I haven't had one of those in a long time. Not since probably 20 years. But I took note of that. $7.49 for a chocolate pie. Well, it cost me more than that to make one. I used to like those when I was a kid, but I think they're probably pretty bad for you. Look at the price of this pizza. $9.29. $9.29 for a frozen pizza. I don't even like those kind. And that kind. Mushrooms, $1.29. Used to get those for 99 cents. 99 cents. I'm going to look in the chat. What are you guys seeing here? What do you think of all these prices? Funa says, 3 deer, 1 moose in the freezer every year, and a few dozen chicken, ducks, and geese, and you don't have to be a slave to inflation. True enough. That's right, Funis. Self-sufficiency, food independency. $3.49 for a can of soup. It's insane. Campbell's is getting rich, man. But they've kind of got the dominant position in the whole soup industry, right? Sandy, soy spread, $2.49. Cheap, yeah. Now this was the deal of the day. Beans for $1. Cans of Heinz beans. $1 denaro, 1 loonie, $1. Can't go wrong with that. Now that is a smoking deal. Sandy says there's been a big shortage of soya sauce. What's going on in the Rumble chat? Don't know. I got to keep an eye on what we're doing. Oh yeah, this frozen fish. This is like the prepared stuff. Highline, $17.49. Get out of town. No, I'm not doing that. No flipping way. No, not at that price. What do we have here? Apples, yeah. $4.98 on sale. All right, I can live with that. Didn't buy any. I still had a few. And your fresh produce, right? Your veggies, your fresh vegetables. This is where you want to be if you want to stay healthy. That's why I don't buy much from here. Okra. Not Oprah, okra. I don't eat that stuff. Salads I eat. $15.99 for walnuts. Can you believe that? $15.99 for walnuts. $18.99 for pistachios. A bag of pistachios? I can't afford that. I did find peanuts over in the middle of the store on an end cap, and they were like $3 on sale. That was a deal. Of course, a lot of salt on those, so they'll kill you. Those are like the generic brands of fish, but even those are expensive. They've gone up probably by 30% for whatever reason, I don't know, in the past month. And these are those prepared chickens. They've increased in price too by at least $2 in the past year and a half or so. Used to get them for like $7.99, $8.99. Now they're $9.99. I see them for as much as $12.99, depending on the store. $5.99 for a small case of soda. And here's water. Who the hell pays $8.99 for water? Not me. Now that's premium sparkling water or whatever. But even this, $1.25 for a little jug of selection water. I don't know, it seems pretty expensive. Now, I said the other day I kind of wish I'd had more kids, but then I went into the diaper aisle, and now I remember why I didn't have any more kids. Yeah, been there, done that. Don't know how I survived. Look at the prices. I do not envy parents today. $40 for a box of diapers? Oh my. $42.99. Better have a good job there, Mom and Dad. A couple of good jobs. I don't know how people are making it these days. And look at the paper product. Paper towel, $11.99. That's brand name stuff. A lot of those no-name brands, though, they just don't seem to go as far. Oh, I don't know. Pooh Bear says, how much is dog and cat food? I didn't look. And the thing is, my wife's been buying the dog food lately, so I don't even know how much it costs. I think it's around $20 for a big bag. I get the dry dog food. Like the Purina stuff, which people are going to probably rip on me for because they're going to say, it's not healthy. You need the premium brands. Everybody seems to have an opinion on dog food. I don't know what they're really putting in that stuff either. It scares me. But I have to tell you, I do give Cosmo some chicken scraps and things like that around whenever we have that for him. And coffee beverage, $7.99. I've never had that. I don't know if that's a good price or not. Probably not. Milk. Oh my God, the price of milk. Because of the controlled market there, $6.99, $7.99, $8.99 for bags of milk. Not every place has bags of milk, but in Ontario we do. I hate those bags, though. And then if you really want to destroy the environment while you're trying to save the environment, just buy the almond milk, right? $4.49. And from what I understand, it's far worse to buy the almond milk because it takes way more land. It's not good for the environment, but people drink that stuff because I guess they're woke. I don't know. I've had it. I used to buy it, but I don't even really like it. And it just seems to me that soy milk, almond milk, it doesn't really have much nutritional value from what I understand, and it seems like it's almost sugar water essentially with some nutty stuff in it, but it tastes kind of like milk. Do you guys ever use the almond milk or the soy milk? What's your opinion on that? I'm kind of curious to know. I'm gonna see if I can. There we go. I'm gonna go into the Rumble chat. I didn't have it open. What are you guys saying in there? Anybody use that soy milk stuff? 115 says, Sharon says, holy smoke, even staples located around the store versus within the rows have risen, even basic eggs. Yeah, it's the eggs, the milk, the butter. Now, bacon they've been putting on sale lately, I've noticed, at least around here. So that's been a saving grace, right? But if it wasn't for that, bacon would be off the charts too. And I don't eat out at all. I never go to restaurants anymore. I only eat at home. The whole restaurant thing, even McDonald's, no, it's just crazy expensive. I don't need to eat out, and I don't miss it. I used to eat out a lot when I was on the road. Maybe that's why I enjoy and appreciate eating at home more. But that gives you a good sense of what the prices are at like out there, man, today. Linda says, never saw an almond with a teat. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I don't buy that stuff anymore. It just doesn't seem to make sense. But some people, they don't want to drink the milk because they're concerned about, I don't know, cruelty to cows? Whatever. I don't know. When I see cows, they look pretty happy. Overall, they seem to look pretty happy to me when I visit them at farms, even when they're in their stalls. You know, I've heard it said that if you want to make sure that a species survives, have humans eat them, because of course, if humans eat them, and farmers farm them, right? If they're like a cattle farmer, they'll breed them to make sure they always survive as a species. So I don't know. I think God has a plan, right? And everything works out. That's the balance of nature, and human beings are part of it. We're part of the ecosystem, but not according to PETA, which this Thanksgiving, they're trying to throw a monkey wrench into Thanksgiving. Look at this. Let me share this with you. PETA. This is making headlines all over the place. People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. This year again, they're on the Thanksgiving warpath in this post on their website, and they are taking an activist position on this again this Thanksgiving season in the U.S. It says Thanksgiving can be the scariest time of year if you're a turkey. No kidding. Yeah, more than 45 million of these fascinating birds are killed to disgrace Thanksgiving tables each year, in hopes of empowering kids everywhere to speak out as their families adorn their Thanksgiving tables with dead birds. PETA offers its Thanksgiving ad, Grace. In the ad, you hear from one straightforward little girl as she tells it exactly like it is for turkeys, who are killed for holiday meals when asked to say grace around her family's dinner table. Despite the fact that it contains nothing graphic, NBC has rejected the ad, which was submitted to air during the iconic Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Ah. When not forced to live on filthy factory farms, turkeys spend their days caring for their young, building nests, foraging for food, taking dust baths, preening themselves, and roosting high in trees. Regarded by many as little more than a holiday centerpiece, turkeys are as varied in personality as dogs and cats. They relish having their feathers stroked and like to chirp, cluck, and gobble along to their favorite tunes. This year, give turkeys something to be thankful for. Pledge to go vegan and leave them off your plate. For a festive centerpiece that is more appealing than a stuffed avian body cavity, go faux. Turkey alternatives are available at many national grocery store chains, or you can make your own faux turkey at home. You can also tempt your taste buds with vegan versions of all your favorites like green bean casserole and sweet potato biscuits. Find delicious vegan recipes here, and I'm not going to click on it. Download PETA's Thanks Vegan Holiday Guide for delicious holiday recipes, tips, and advice for answering difficult questions at the dinner table. Here's their banned Thanksgiving ad. It's on YouTube, so I guess it's safe to run it. Shall we run the... Let's take a look at what PETA is saying, shall we? Let's give them a voice like everybody else here.
You know what? Yeah. Sure. Dear God, thank you for the turkey we're about to eat, and for the turkey farms where they pack them into dark, tiny little sheds for their whole lives. Thank you for when they burn their feathers off while they're still alive, and for when turkey gets kicked around like a football and killed by people who think it's fun to stomp on their little turkey heads. And special thanks for all the chemicals and dirt and poop that's in the turkey we're about to eat. Oh, and thank you for rainbows. Amen. Let's eat.
I don't know. What does RFK Jr. have to say about this? What do you... I confess, I ate the turkey, but our Thanksgiving in Canada came early. We have ours. We already had ours. I feel so guilty. Oh, man. Man, they take the fun out of everything. They just ruin everything. Like, everything. Now they want to, of course, they want to ruin Thanksgiving. You know they want to ruin Thanksgiving. They've been trying to ruin Thanksgiving for a long time. The people on the left. I ate the turkey and I liked it. I did. And there was a time when it used to be fun to go shopping. Now I got to pinch my pennies, watch every dime, calculate the HST, the GST. Is this got sales tax on it or doesn't it? Even over the holidays, like, are these groceries exempt from the sales tax or those ones? I don't know. Whatever. It used to be fun when people actually had some money before times, the before Trudeau times, the before Biden times. I'm Biden my time, that's for sure. Just trying to get by like everybody else. Well, to pay tribute to those before times when it used to be fun to go shopping, Maverick and the News Brothers, we put together another song. This is Midnight Grocery Run, a tribute to the before times when it was fun to go shopping.
Under neon lights after 24/7, cereal boxes stacked like they're from heaven. Cartwheels squeak while hearts untucked. Past the pickles and we're straight up struck. Midnight grocery run, feeling so divine. Bananas in the basket and we're losing track of time. Laughing through the aisles with you right by my side. This midnight grocery run's a wild ride. Frozen pizzas and a chocolate pie. Scanning items beneath the starry sky. Fluorescent glow makes everything so real. In this wonderland we break the seal. Midnight grocery run, feeling so divine. Bananas in the basket and we're losing track of time. Laughing through the aisles with you right by my side. This midnight grocery run's a wild ride. Here's certain they know the drill. Moonlit moments give a midnight thrill. We dance down our floor like no one sees. Just some dreamers lost in fantasies. Midnight grocery run, feeling so divine. Bananas in the basket and we're losing track of time. Laughing through the aisles with you right by my side. This midnight grocery run's a wild ride.
That was made weeks ago, many weeks ago, and tonight was just the night to run it because we're talking about inflation, shopping, Thanksgiving, the turkeys, the price of turkeys, the price of everything, tariffs, the economy probably going to tank. Oh, man. And Christmas on the horizon. But at least it's going to be a break on sales tax here in Canada, even on toys. So at least there's that, but pray for better days ahead. If you want to support this show, you can do that by donating at freedomreporters.com. Please like, share, subscribe. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Please subscribe over on Rumble if you're so inclined. That would really help us out a lot. We're growing over there. We've added the channel to some other platforms, including Parler, which is back. And we've posted our first videos over there this week, and we're actually getting some traction there. We're getting an audience already building on Parler, so that's a good thing too. But that was a fun song. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed your time here with me tonight as much as I enjoyed being with you. And hopefully tomorrow that ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah holds. We'll update you when I return tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, on The Flip Side. Love you guys.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.